Hey guys, how you all doing, and welcome to part 4 of my weapons guide video, where today I'm looking at the AR-57 in IRONSIGHT. Now the AR-57 is a part of the SMG category, and its only firing mode is full auto. Now for the damage numbers, at around 10 meters you're looking at 48 damage to the head, 26 damage aiming for the chest, 24 damage aiming for the arms, and 20 damage aiming for the legs. At around 15 meters, these numbers drop slightly. Well, I wouldn't say slightly at all. 26 damage aiming for the head, 20 damage for the chest, 12 damage for the arms, and 10 damage for the legs. So at around 10 meters, you're looking at roughly 3 to 5 shots to kill. 15 meters, 4 to 10 shots to kill. Rate of fire is alright, especially for the SMG category. You're looking at roughly 14 shots a second, 840 rounds per minute. Reload, however, is on the bad side, and if you don't have the skill equipped, as long as you keep one round in the chamber, you're looking at 2.55 seconds, and that is for the short reload. However, if you're too reckless and you empty your magazine, you'll be looking at 3.25 seconds for a full reload. However, if you do equip the skill, things look slightly better, but nonetheless still on the long side. For a short reload will be 2 seconds sharp, and for a complete reload, again emptying your entire magazine, you're looking at 2.27 seconds for that reload. The amount of time it takes to aim down the sight is still the same amongst all others, and I would not recommend equipping the skill. It is still 0.12. That is with and without the skill. Magazine size is great, rivaling all weapons except for the light machine guns. You're looking at 50 rounds standing by and 100 in reserve, same as the P90. And those are the only two weapons that have that amount of ammunition. But for the P90 and for the AR-57, extended mags is not a feature that you can equip for this weapon. Time to kill, or TTK, is pretty good. At around 10 meters, aiming for the chest, you're looking at 0.14 to kill your target. And at 15 meters, 0.23. Last thing I want to cover is this weapon does have some pretty substantial recoil patterns, and I would not recommend engaging from the distance. There are a lot of weapons that can outperform you in this range. However, this is a submachine gun, so you should already know that. One thing to also be aware of, though, is that the iron sight for this weapon is not very good, and it obscures a lot of your vision, especially when there's like a huge chunk on the left and the right side. So if you do planning on aiming down the sight with this weapon, I would highly recommend you get rid of them. The iron sight looks something like this. Again, obscures a lot of your view, especially when it's up close to you, so I would highly recommend swapping that out for an optic if you do planning on aiming down the sight. Now the skills and attachments I would actually recommend are different from the gameplay that you're seeing in the background, but if you do want to know the attachments that I'm using quick reload, marathon, and blast protection. Quick reload to shorten the reload speed as much as possible, especially since I'm moving fast because of marathon, and your mobility is at 100% because it's an SMG. And I do always tend to move around just to make it a bit harder for me to, and I'm not aiming down the sight, as you can clearly see. And blast protection, I'm noticing a lot more players are throwing grenades, so this is just to make sure I survive as much as possible and I don't take that much damage from them. Now for attachments, as I said before, is what you can see, I'm using a laser sight and a suppressor. I'm also using armor piercing rounds. I always use armor piercing rounds. So far I haven't moved away from that. But you can use hollow point. That does work a lot, especially when it comes to one-on-one gunfights. But I just use armor piercing rounds just so that my rounds can go through bullets in case the enemy does try to run for cover. Now, I use the explosive knife and the tear gas for my lethal and my technical. Spaz 12 for my secondary, and my streaks, I'm running a UAV recon, a UAV jammer, and a laws. Now you're free to use any skills and attachments as you want, but the loadout that has actually carried me all the way up to Mastery 5 has actually been almost the exact same thing, except for quick reload, I switched that out with quick switch. So I actually switched to my secondary, and the reason why is even with the quick reload perk, the reload is still ridiculously too long for me. And many times I am trying to reloading and then I'm already bumping into an enemy and I can't switch to my weapon fast enough. So I actually replaced it with quick switch. Everything else is practically the same except the tear gas. I've actually went back to the flashbang. I'm using that now. And the laser sight and the detecting sight actually. Because there are some times where I do need to aim down the sight and it's just the iron sights. Again, they're not that good. So that's what I've actually been relying on, and that's actually what's carried me to Mastery 5. But again, you are free to use any attachments and skills that you like. Now as far as the playstyle for this weapon, even though I'm not going to like what I'm about to say, I would actually recommend not aiming down the sight with this weapon. Just run the laser sight and just hip fire all over the place. Primarily, you have the 50 rounds. The rate of fire is pretty good, and as long as you're constantly moving all around the place with the marathon perk and actually taking full advantage of your maximum mobility, it's going to be hard for you to hit. And as long as you stay out of open areas and avoid one-to-one gunfights with a rifle that actually has the range above you, you're going to win that fight. And practically the only thing that can counter this strategy that I've seen is the exact same strategy. If you bump into another player using the exact same tactics, that's the only time I've ever had a problem with this weapon. However, there are different tactics that you can take, because I can definitely see a strategy like equipping double time and then a nice optic and like a substitute besides the laser sight and just leave the suppressor. I can definitely see something like that work, similar to the strategy that I'm recommending for the Scar H. I can definitely see a tactic like that working. Again, you're free to play however you choose. This is just my recommendations, and these are just the things that I've experienced while using this weapon. But that's all that I have you guys for today. Leave a comment section below exactly what do you think of this weapons guide video, and also what do you think about the AR-57. Leave a comment section down below what weapon do you want to see me review next. Right after this will be the horrendous SVD, and the K2C will be right after that. But leave a comment section down below what do you want to see next in line. I would love to actually see your recommendations, because I've been really having fun using these new unique weapons, especially with the SVD. I have a huge surprise for you when it comes to that weapon. But I'll see you guys in the next one.